This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
And welcome in, folks, to another edition of Open Mic Night. I am your host, Noah Taluki, and on today's episode, the Lions just released their newest Inside the Den YouTube video. I'm going to break that video down and explain why I think it's very obvious, according to the video, that the culture is changing in Allen Park at 222 Republic Drive. Also, Tigers off to a terrible, terrible start yet again. The losing just keeps piling up. I have a question to pose to Tiger fans, because I think we've all been duped about this team. Whose fault is it? Is it Avila's? Is it Chris Ilitch? Whose fault is it more, Chris or Al or anyone else? I want to discuss that a little bit later as well, because that's, oh my gosh, that's a whole nother can of worms. Something that I've been very upset about lately is how this Tigers team is performing. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I know I'm recording a little bit later than normal, just because it's just been a busy week. Of course, I mentioned it last week and the week before. I'm doing an internship at the Pro Football Hall of Fame this summer in their archives and football information department with the great John Kendall, and it's been a very, very, very great internship, and I've really loved it, and getting to know all the other interns who are from way out of state. I think 12 different states of us 16 are represented, so literally people from all over the country. And we've been doing fun things together. I mean, we went on a tour of Canton, downtown Canton, went on a food tour through the Hall of Fame, learned about the history of downtown as well. And, so we've been doing a lot of fun things together. And, one of my main projects I'm doing right now is with the in the archives department, scanning Coach Dick Vermeil's personal photos. Of course, Dick Vermeil is a Hall of Famer. So that's been really cool to see that. And then also another big thing is researching, different facts and information about the current Hall of Famers now. So this group of 8 guys that are getting inducted in August, and basically how it works is, every player that's ever played in the NFL has some sort of file in the archives. And, obviously some players have way bigger files than others. So these guys have quite big files. And what it is, each file has a lot of, information about the player. So is it, stuff that maybe you can't really find on the internet now. So a lot of it is feature stories, press clippings, all that has just been compiled over the years. So it's been really cool to go through that and get different quotes from there. So we're going to be writing some stories possibly, and also just gathering more information about each of these guys. So I feel like I know especially a lot about Bryant Young and Leroy Butler, the two guys I've done the most research on so far. Of course, Leroy Butler, the longtime safety for the Green Bay Packers, and Bryant Young, the longtime defensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers. Interesting, something I found out about Leroy Butler. Leroy Butler, in a game against the Lions in 1992, he was fined somewhere between like $10,000 and $15,000 for a late hit on Andre Ware. Andre Ware threw an 11-yard touchdown pass to Herman Moore, and on the play, and I actually Googled it and I watched it, Leroy Butler, just as soon as Andre Ware released the pass, he kind of jumped up to try to block the pass, but then he went right at Ware's head and kind of slapped his helmet, and he was fined $15,000 for that. Now everyone's talking about how, and personally, I didn't really think, it was that big of a hit. It was just an accident, maybe a penalty, but I don't know about a fine. It didn't seem like there was any, malintent. And Leroy Butler, after the game, said that, he was, he didn't mean to do that. He's not that kind of player, but a lot of people thought it was dirty, but I didn't really think it was. But I thought it was interesting because that's something that maybe a lot of fans wouldn't know about because just something that kind of got glossed over. But through my research, 30 years ago, there was a play against the Lions where he got fined $15,000, and it was a big deal around the NFL. A lot of teams were reporting on it, and a lot of outlets and all that. So They talk about getting, fines over, silly little things now. Well, even 30 years ago, it seemed like they were fining some stuff over silly little matters, especially with Leroy Butler there. In my opinion, it didn't seem like it. Now, obviously, it seems like the league and other fans, thought otherwise. But, interesting that it was against the Lions as well. But on Wednesday, actually, the Cleveland Browns, the whole team came to the Hall of Fame. So that was really cool. I was able to. They had a little walkthrough, a part of mini camp, and on the field at the Hall of Fame. So that was cool. I got to go on the field and see up close what an NFL, mini camp is like. At least one of the days, a walkthrough, and then after we were able to show them a lot of parts of the museum. So that was cool. I was talking with a lot of the players on a certain floor of the museum and showing them different artifacts in the exhibits. So, that was a really, really cool experience. And, just getting to talk to these guys like normal people, and I think that's something we forget about. I think a lot of people out there think these NFL guys are larger than life, but, they're just humans just like us. So it was really cool to interact with them kind of on that human-to-human level. And not think, oh, these guys are just making millions of dollars, they're above us. No, we're all human, so that I thought that was a really cool part. And being able to showcase, the history of the NFL, it's something I'm really passionate about. And, I love reading books on it. And I'm actually, speaking of history, I'm actually reading a book right now called When Lions Were Kings. It's all about the Lions in the 1950s. I think a lot of people forget that the Lions won 3 NFL championships in the 1950s, 1952, 53, and obviously the most infamous one, 1957. So, the last time the Lions won a championship. But somebody wrote a book, the author escapes me, but he published it through Wayne State. And it's a very, very good book so far. I've gotten through a couple of chapters talking about Bobby Lane and Doak Walker, and among some of the other Lions greats from that era. They actually went 17-4-1 during the 1950s, or during against Paul Brown's teams, which basically was all of that era, a little bit more, but 17-4-1 against Paul Brown. And you know what? The team of the 50s, they say, is Paul Brown's Browns. But really, the Lions, and I think they were 4-1 or 3-1 against the Browns in championship games. So, these 50s Lions are not really looked upon as sort of the kings of the 50s. It really seems to be Paul Brown and the Browns, but I really think the Lions of the 50s could make a case for that. But I know everyone's tired of hearing about history because they're tired of hearing about 1957. That was the last time the Lions won. But personally, I've always been interested in this, and you never know, could be a career in the future. We'll see, but. Another book I'm going to be reading soon is about Dutch Clark, the old, really the first great Lion from the 1930s. And fun fact, Dutch Clark's number 7 is retired by the Lions. If you see pictures of Matthew Stafford wearing number 7 in high school at Highland Park and number 7 at Georgia, obviously you'd think, well, why not number 7 in the NFL? He did try to wear number 7 with the Lions, but because Dutch Clark's number 7 was retired, he had to switch to number 9. So, interesting there. If Dutch Clark didn't have his number retired, we'd be seeing Matthew Stafford in the number 7, most likely. So, just a little bit of Lions history there, and little updates on what's been going on at the Hall of Fame. Just getting ready for enshrinement weekend in the next a little bit over a month now. So it'll be, I'm sure it'll be a busy time there as well. Also, before we get to some Lions talk, I just wanted to give a shout out to friend Jeremiah Reardon. We've had him on the podcast before a couple years ago. He was a 5-year starting long snapper for the University of Buffalo, and my classmate at U of D Jesuit, class of 2017. He just got inducted into the Catholic League Hall of Fame. And, of course, so there's a lot of great athletes that have been inducted into the Catholic League Hall of Fame. They've played professionally in different leagues, and it's definitely a truly an honor to be selected to that. And I was able to go to the ceremony. I was able to go to the golf outing. Thanks to Jeremiah for inviting me. And it was really awesome to see. And 2 of my other classmates too, Mike Sims and of course Scotty Nelson, who we've had on the podcast. Scotty is with the Seahawks right now as an undrafted free agent safety. Both of them also got in. Mike was there, but not Scotty. Of course, he's with the Seahawks. So Big shout outs to Mike and Scotty as well. So 3 of my classmates getting into the Catholic League Hall of Fame this weekend, all played football as their main sport. So it was really exciting to see that, and I talked to a lot of people there, and it was fun over at Fernhill Golf Club in Sterling Heights. So really good experience for that as well. All right, so I want to get to the Lions right now, and the Lions, lately they've been doing this YouTube series. It's called Inside the Den. They're on episode 4 right now. And basically the Lions PR staff and their video team are create this, it's sort of and a lot of teams are starting to do this. Like the Browns are doing the Cleveland, Building the Browns. I actually met a couple of camera people from Building the Browns because they were there filming, some of the players at the Hall of Fame. And he was telling me all about how more and more teams are starting to do these videos, like these 30 minutes to an hour segments, sort of like a little bit like Hard Knocks, except it's they guard more things than Hard Knocks. But inside the Den, if anyone is a big Lions fan out there and has not seen this, it is really good. And like I said, more and more teams are starting to do this. And so this episode was 52 minutes long, episode 4. And basically, the episode is recapping all of the Lions draft. A real behind-the-scenes look, from the draft back in late April. And there's a couple of takeaways, and I don't want to spoil too much for this. I want you guys to watch this, but they, I really think. Because they put a camera in the draft room. So you get to see Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes' reactions every time they drafted someone. And I just got to say, I really think that the culture is changing in Allen Park. You can just see how genuine these guys are. Genuine, like in the fact that their guy is there. They're so happy that their guy's there. For example, Aiden Hutchinson. They wanted him all along. You could tell, when watching the video, how happy they were to get him. Then you have the whole situation with the trade with Minnesota, moving 20 spots up to grab Jameson Williams. Then you hear them talking, because New Orleans was at 11. They're talking, are they going to go with a guy that's more of a long-term project, kind of like Jameson is because of his torn ACL, or are they going to go with someone that they need right away? They thought Brad Holmes, you could see him saying, they're probably going to need someone right away. And sure enough, they drafted Chris Olave from Ohio State. So, as soon as that pick happened, Brad Holmes and the company are hugging each other. They know they got their guy in Jameson. Just seeing, their conversations with Minnesota moving up, just such a brilliant guy, Brad Holmes is, to be able to do that. And then you get down to like the second and third rounds, second round pick Josh Pascal. I mean, they were so excited that he was still there. They thought he might have gone late first round, early second round, but he was able to slide a little bit more. And then Kirby Joseph, the other, the safety pick, they had him on their board possibly going like late first round, early second round, kind of up there with Pascal. But it was obvious that they were very, very excited that he fell all the way to the third round. And and so it seems like at least their top 3 picks in the draft, or top 4, I should say, if you include Jameson, they were really wanted those guys. And it's not like there was any surprises, at least what it seemed like in the reactions. They were all hugging each other and everyone's, fist bumping, high-fiving. It's an exciting culture. It's like, me as a fan watching this, it's like, man, I want to be a part of this. That's what it felt like, at least. And it just made me think, like, when's the last time we felt like this in Detroit? Look, I've talked to you guys about it before. When I became a Lions, and I know some of you guys listening out there might be Lions fans for decades. I first became a Lions fan when Matthew Stafford was drafted in 2009. And I followed the team closely ever since. I've never, and even in 2011, when they made the playoffs that first time since 1999, I've never felt like so much hype around this team than I've done now. Now, I think part of is it part of the media, in the national media even, is hooking on. I think part of it is with Dan Campbell and his reactions, and part of it is the Lions being on Hard Knocks, and part of it is kind of the underdog mentality, but I think a lot of it is genuine, and I really, really think that this is a changing culture, and I just don't think guys like Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn and all those other guys just really got like this excited, and it seemed like it was just so genuine passion for what these guys are doing. I just don't think it was like that, at least in the public eye. So I really, really think that at least they're really trying to build something special. Now, there's a whole other question if this whole thing's going to work or not. But when I see the general manager and head coach hugging each other and slapping high fives and so happy after their top 4 picks of the draft, it seemed like they just fell into their lap. I mean, how much better can that get? At least from a future standpoint, they got the guys they wanted. It's not like they had to. I've talked about it before on the podcast. Some teams, what they do is, they need a quarterback. We're gonna go take him, even though that guy that they pick might not be the best fit for their team. They feel desperate. These guys, I don't think they felt desperate to pick any of these guys. These guys just fell right into their lap. Let the draft come to you. They were able to get their guys, the guys that they wanted. Not, we need a defensive end, so let's go get this guy. We need another defensive end. Let's go get Josh Pascal. No, it was not like that, at least according to the video. So I thought it was really, really cool to see those genuine reactions. And, these guys are definitely fired up about the season. That's for sure. Also, part of it, too, was they showed some of the draft interviews and combine interviews with some of these players. So that was really cool. And even seeing like Aiden Hutchinson, Todd Washer, one of the coaches asked him, do you like watching film? And I see Aiden, he says, oh yeah, I love watching film. I love trying to get better, and just seeing those reactions. And I thought that was really, really good to see because, you got to want to be better. And, I think Aiden, following him since high school, I think, he's always gotten better at every level. He got better in high school, got better when he got to Michigan. And I think he can get better in the pros too. I think he's all about wanting to get better and wanting to be the best, wanting to be the greatest. And I think that's a really, really good mentality, especially for your number 2 overall pick of the draft, and a guy that really could be a cornerstone for this franchise. And I think he will be. So I didn't want to bore anyone with talk about mini camp and all this, OTAs. That can get boring sometimes, but I really, really wanted to focus on this Inside the Den. And guys, go check it out. It's on the Lions YouTube page. The video team, PR staff, they are definitely doing a really, really good job with this. And it's really, really cool to watch from a fan's perspective. And being able to see an inside look on what these guys do, is really, really cool to watch. That is for sure. All right, Tiger talk before we close out. We've been duped. We've been duped about this team. What did we hear at the beginning of the season? Chris Ilitch and company, they said, rebuild is over. We are in contention now. We won 78 games last year. Great. All right, so we're expecting results by now. Seemed like they were trending up. They got Austin Meadows. They got rid of Isaac Paredes. And what has this team done? Gone 24-39. They've lost 5 in a row now after their loss to Texas earlier tonight, recording here on a Thursday. 16-21 at home, 8-18 on the road. This is awful. A run differential of -96. They've only scored 169 runs. That is least in not only the AL, but the entire NL as well. So all of baseball, they've only scored 169 runs. They've given up 265. 169 runs. The next closest to that, just to give you some perspective, the Oakland A's with 212. So I'm not a math expert, but if you do math here, quick math, 79, 89, 99, 109. 209, I should say. 44 runs between the Tigers' last place and the A's' second to last place. Over 40 runs. That's how terrible this team is right now, offensively. Now, runs allowed, 265, at least in the division. Chicago's got more runs allowed. Minnesota, so the pitching is not the problem. The bullpen has been pitching really well this season. You can argue that it's a top 5 bullpen in the league right now. However, a bullpen doesn't matter as much when you can't have a lead. Tigers have not had many leads this season because they've only won 24 games. We've been duped about this team. We thought they were contending. Pitching's been great. Chris Fetter, excellent pitching coach. But this is a historically bad offense. Tigers right now on base plus slugging, so OPS 590, 59%. 60.6 is the Oakland A's. They're dead last in baseball. They've only hit in an era when the home run is what matters the most. They're hitting a league low 31 home runs. The Oakland A's 46. So there's a 15 home run gap between the Tigers and the A's right now for dead last. Historically bad offense. I heard a stat earlier today. So the Braves, they've won, I think, 15 straight, the Braves, and they've hit 35 home runs over that 15-game winning streak. Your Tigers, 31 the entire season. Oh, and by the way, Isaac Paredes, remember when the Tigers traded him to Tampa Bay? He's hitting 5 home runs this season. That would be good enough to lead the Tigers. And you know how many home runs Austin Meadows has had? 0. Where's the power? I remember people were saying the Rays don't lose many trades. I know all the Tiger fans out there thought that they had won that trade. As of now, the Rays are killing us. Killing us right now. Best hitter on this Tigers team is Miguel Cabrera, hitting 294. Second best, Jonathan Scope, 191. Javi Baez, what a bitter disappointment this guy has been. Well, I'm going to go by his stats. 190 his average, 232 on base percentage, 292 slugging. No triples, 3 home runs, 11 doubles, 37 hits, only 9 walks, 16 RBIs, 54 strikeouts. Torkelson, 4 home runs, 181 average. When are they going to send him down to Toledo, fix the kinks out? Cabrera has 57 hits, second closest, Scope at 44. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Miguel Cabrera is 39. He's going to be 40 next year. It's great to see that Miggy's, playing well for his age. It's great to see that. 21 RBIs, he leads the team as well. But when you supposedly have all this young talent on the team, these guys that are in the farm system, oh, look at Torque. Riley Green's going to be coming up soon after his injury. Cody Clemens. Daz Cameron. You have these young guys. Aren't they supposed to be contributing to, especially Javi Baez, Austin Meadows? Where have they been? But Miggy is leading the team in almost every single offensive category. That's not a good sight because Miggy isn't the future. He's got 1 more year left on the contract, and he's going to be gone. He already said he's going to retire. This Tiger team needs a big, big fix. I don't know if it means firing the hitting coach. I don't know, but they're going to have to fix it really soon. And, one thing I want to discuss, whose fault is it? Whose fault? Chris Ilitch, Avila, AJ Hinch? I can tell you one thing. I don't think this is as much AJ Hinch's fault because look at who he's been dealt with. Nobody. I wonder if AJ Hinch is going to leave. He's going to say, I'm not dealing with this bull crap. This is ridiculous. I want to go to a winner. These guys aren't winning right now. Unless he's fully into the process. I don't know, but I'm not trusting this process. Avila, we've heard Joel Zumaya talk about him. We've heard other people, but is it Al's fault? He's the guy who ultimately makes the decisions. He's the guy who signs these guys. He's the guy who made all those trades after the Verlander deal, after J.D. Martinez. Getting nothing. Getting who? Candelario. You already traded one of the guys you got back, Paredes. Who's playing well for Tampa Bay. Lost that trade again. Lost the JV trade. J.D. Martinez. Austin Meadows. The Shane Green deal. Justin Wilson. The only thing you got basically back, Candelario. So he's the guy who makes those decisions. But who's the guy who pays his checks? The guy who pays his checks and keeps him employed is Chris Ilitch. Is it Chris's fault? Yes. I think part of it is. But ultimately, the man who makes the decision is Al. Now, I don't know if Chris is telling Al, hey, pick this guy, make this trade. I don't know. I don't know how much they collaborate, but I think ultimately it's Al. More of the blame falls on Al than Chris, and that's my opinion. But I just think that it's just a really messy situation, and we've been duped because Chris Ilitch promised that this was the end of the rebuild, and that I don't know. I don't like thinking that this is not going to work out because I really want to see what Riley Green is capable of. And I want to see, Torque and how much he can improve. But this offense is terrible. I mean, they just need a real spark. I mean, I hope, maybe Riley Green is a little bit of a spark once he comes back from injury, but it's kind of too late by now. I mean, 24-39. Whew. Tigers are in for a long, long haul. That's for sure. This team is really getting me upset because I was on board. I thought this team was in for a really good season, for 80+ wins. They're nowhere near that right now. I thought the offense would improve. The pitching is doing well. Tarek Skubal, Alex Faedo. Faedo's been a nice surprise. Chris Fetter, great pitching coach. He's done a great job with the bullpen, but I just wonder, maybe all that needs to be fixed is the hitting. Maybe that's the only problem right now, the major problem. Maybe if they get the hitting fixed, maybe they'll start winning. Maybe Al has to spend on the right guys, though. If Al keeps his job next season, he's gonna have to spend on the right guys. Not, they top 5 in baseball in payroll. Yeah, you spent it on the wrong guys. You spent it on Meadows. You spent it on Baez. These guys have done nothing. People even knew Baez was a little washed up before he came here. This was not the top shortstop on the market. It's just upsetting as a Tiger fan. That's for sure. All right, we'll close that chapter for this week, but thanks for tuning in. As always, make sure to tune into all the other podcasts on the podcast network, Doc and Jock, the Wrestling Podcast, the Fan Report, Michigan Podcast, as well as Check the Report and all the other ones that come out a little bit as well. And always check out John Macaroon's fantastic coverage with SI Lions as they're just wrapping up mini camp and into a little bit of an off season before they go into training camp, which will begin in late July. So a lot of exciting times, and let's hope the Tigers can pick it up at least. They need a real spark offensively because I'm sick and tired of seeing them lose games 3-1, 2-0. Got to start picking it up, and Riley Green needs to be healthy because he could be a spark. He could be. You never know. Thanks again, folks, for tuning in, and make sure to tune in next week only on Open Mic Night.